going to get things started, and we are now live recording, moving from Google Classroom to Canvas LMS. Welcome everybody. I'm Marcia Carrillo. I am an induction mentor in the Central Valley in California. I work with new teachers to help them clear their credentials. And our district, we have several Google Classroom users, but we have several that are transitioning to Canvas. And we had a lot of Canvas training beginning of school. And so I'm sharing my journey. You can interact with me on Twitter, mcarrillo@edu. I'm also in the Facebook Teacher Tech group with Alice Keeler. And usually I found in these sessions, we're able to go through about 10 things. So basically I have 10 slides. So it's didn't be anything overwhelming. The disable of the navigation tiles. So here we are in our Google Classroom. And I like to just verify that I am sharing the right thing. And if I'm not, somebody give me unmute yourself and let me know. In fact, somebody needs to be admitted. There we are. Welcome. Welcome aboard. Okay, so this is the free version of Canvas, which I will say I do highly recommend. Some districts make a sandbox for you where you can play. This would be kind of like that. You can actually create your whole class in this system. So somebody had mentioned, oh, I don't have access yet. Yes, use your own personal Gmail account. And I have been making several classes using this and playing with this. Then you can export these classes to your real one later if you decide to do that, or you're just experimenting. Some of the things, if you're new to this, is there are complete classes already made. And people are very sharing on Canvas. So what we're focusing on today is I made a module up here at the top. And a module kind of and so right there, I just clicked that quick and now I've published it, it's green. And I just kind of like to reinforce things, spiral them through. If you want to make something within the module, it's that plus button right there. And if we want to do anything with this module, you can move the context, move the module up or down, delete it, duplicate it, send it. You can copy it to another class. You can share it to the commons, which that means other people or yourself can have access. But if some people get worried, what if I lose everything? They can share it to the commons and you can find it yourself. And then if you have favorited things in commons, that's again where the lessons are. And I made that in week 5 of the drip subscription. We emphasize the commons, how you can search for different lessons, complete courses, and so on. You can favorite them and then you'll have access to those easily. But what we want to focus on now is these navigation titles down the side. So imagine if you are a new student, maybe you're going from Google Classroom to Canvas, and as a new student you see all these down the side. Well, even as adults, the class I took, they actually had removed all of those, so they'll still be there for you as the teacher. But what you want to do is, so I'm in my class. Let's go back to the dashboard just to review. How did we even get here? So the class that I'm doing is my campaign this year and every year, which is called Grading with Grace. And each one of those stands for something. I have stickers. If you want to email me, I'll send you one. this takes us to our home page. I set this to be the home page. You can also do that. Some people make, that's where they put their Bitmoji page or something fancy. This was just a welcome video and some things real easy. But sometimes in courses, you only want a home page and then modules. That's it. And so how do we get rid of the rest of these? Because kids could be clicking around and get really lost. So we're going to go to settings. And I felt like this part was kind of intuitive. I kind of stumbled across it. Up here at the top, we have course details. That's again where you could change this tile if you wanted and the name. Sections. Sometimes that would be something your school might have to do. And then navigation. So these are all of the ones that are showing. Notice home wasn't one of them that I can remove. But click on the 3 dots and I can either disable it or move it. The classes I took only had home and modules. I think we need Google Drive, Office 365, files, but they don't really, the assignments are within the module, so you can just disable those. These are within the modules. In fact, I'm going to disable that too. Now, you can always add these back. Look how fast they go away. And there's other ways for kids to see these things, like their grades. They're off to the side. But too many things for students to be clicking around on, they might get lost. And I know at our school, we're some of the people are still using that. Okay. Drag items here to hide them from students. So I could have just dragged them too. Now we can see over here because we are, oh, one of the things I've noticed that you have to make sure you always do is save. Kind of like when you update a web page, think about your updating a web page. Okay, we're back over here to course details. We're going to go home. When we go home is when we can see student view. I've noticed that you can't always see student view. So when I go to student view, one of the things it is, so you'll see, this is what I left. I left the home, the modules, Google Drive, Office 365. Oh, I left pages. I didn't really want to leave that. So I'm going to leave the student view. I'm going to go down to settings. And you would have to do this for each of your courses. I'm going to go to navigation, the 3rd tab over, and I don't want pages. I want to just disable it. And then I would need to make sure I save that at the bottom. So I did it with the 3 dots, but you notice you could have just dragged them down. And then we're back over here to home, and we go to student view. So when the student logs in, they have a home page telling them what to do, and you just tell them go to modules. And that will be very helpful for your students. So we're going to leave the student view, and that was how to disable navigation tiles. That's also a spot to reorder them. So let's just look at that real quick. Here's our settings again. And I actually encourage you to do it with me. You may say, well, I actually do want assignments in, and I want those on the top. Well, I like that a lot better, dragging them. And I want assignments, and then I want quizzes right here. So you can reorder those again in any order you want, except for home stays up there. Make sure you save. And then I always like to check the student view. And that's one of the things I do like about Canvas. And then you can see over here on the side. So the less of these things, I think the less confusing for students. And that's one of the reasons we want to organize it that way or something similar. Let's see what we have planned next. Oh, enabling the LTI, Google, or iCloud. So students have to do this. Usually this is done for the students. And since we're going to make sure that we, so you would click on the account. And this is to make sure that Canvas talks to Google. I noticed on my school account, they did that for us. So we go into account, we go into settings. And on the free one, I did have to click that. So it says registered services. And there's the, and then they had me pick which Google Drive. So if I click that off right here, it goes over on that side. If I want it, I click it, I authorize it, and then I have to pick which one I want to authorize. I have about 4 accounts. So they want to know which one I want to authorize. So students, if that wasn't already done, students would need to authorize their Google account. This is where you can edit other things on this page as well. And sometimes the other services listed here, I noticed with my school, I did see other services listed that were things that were other companies that you would maybe contract with. Okay, and somebody thought they signed up for the wrong class. Well, that happens sometimes, and if you leave, it's okay. Remember, we'll have this recorded. This is the Canvas webinar for moving from Google Classroom to Canvas. So we have made sure that Canvas and Google are talking. And so I usually go to dashboard and then find my course and I click on that. Okay. We enabled it. Last week during office hours, I had a little trouble with embedding a website, which I think is really cool. So I did want to do that again. Remember, I in the chat. Slide number 3. Now this link right here gives you some more tips because sometimes it's not as easy as I thought, but this is what we need. So what's the website that you want to put on a page? Okay, on a page. So then we want to copy this code. So highlight it, Control C, or right click copy. Now I'm going to go to my Canvas. I'm going to go to modules. Remember, for today, I made a module 200. I called it #200. We always want to use that because that lets you, if you number things, you can do Control F, which means Control Find, or Command on a Mac. And that will help your students when there's a long list of assignments, that will help them find it very quickly. So I already made a page here. Do we remember how to make a page? Right here. And we just make a new page. So what I'm going to do on the page, when we want to edit a page, we just click on it. Click edit. I did not have success with every website that I tried. So there is something tricky. So we need to click on the HTML editor. And remember, on your school account, it'll just be the embed symbol. Okay, Control V. Now, right here, with my glasses very carefully, I need to paste the URL in between those quotes. How many of you heard of GeoGebra? GeoGebra.org is an awesome math apps website, and it has tons of resources and activities. So if I was teaching math, that would be in my Canvas class. So I decided I was going with that one. So Control V. And remember from last time, or maybe you don't, how big will that show up on the page? They tell you width and height on this right here. On the width, we wanted, it says 600. I'm going to change that to 100%. And that's between the quotation marks. So it's a little bit coding. And I'm going to say save. Now I tried this one earlier and it worked. There it is, GeoGebra math apps. So your students would just go right to this assignment that you have them going on. And notice down here, see next, that lets us know what we're going to go to next. And back. That's pretty slick. So that's my one of my favorite things. And there is a slide in the presentation that I shared. But I did notice if the website doesn't work, one thing they told me is to make sure that you have HTTPS, add the S if you don't have that in your website when you paste it. And then just some websites don't work. I mean, we just have to accept that maybe that website doesn't want to interact with Canvas. Maybe Canvas is blocking it or something. Embed a website. So I wanted to make sure I addressed that since I had a little trouble with that last week. Okay, I had an instance where I needed a Google Doc, a copy for each student. That was a common thing that teachers and myself did in Google Classroom. So how do we do that in Canvas? So let's take a look at that. We've been focusing a lot on pages. So what we want to do is within our module, here's our module using Google. Click on the plus button if you want to do it with me. And we're going to focus today on assignments. I'm noticing there's a lot of power. So pages is more for content and interactive things, websites and so on. And an assignment is you want students to do something. And so this particular assignment is going to be assignment, because I'm sticking with my numbers, 202. And it is a graphic organizer called the 321. And I want to indent it. And I want to add the item. And I'm going to publish it. Now, what some teachers are doing when they don't want their students to see everything is they don't publish it. So if you're not wanting kids to move ahead too far, then that's a choice that you can make too. So I'm going to click on that, because remember, that's just the title. And we are going to press edit. And our rich content editor comes up here. Now this would be a spot to let students know what you want them to do. So this is a good spot for directions. And it's a good chance to, you could have video directions. You could have both. Directions. Please complete the 321 graphic organizer and submit. You may be more specific. Maybe there's a video. Okay. If we want to, we can't just attach something. maybe you're using different systems. I like to make things worth at least 25 points, or I feel like students won't do them. Maybe we're going to get to a point where we don't have to have points. I'm going to count it, but it does let you say this. Is it an assignment? Different things. If you want to create a new group, you can name your own group. Not to count. Okay, submission type. That's the main area where you integrate Google. So if you want to integrate Google with Canvas, one of the main areas is on submission type. So if it says no submission, you're going to change that. And how are you going to do that? With an external tool. Okay, let's look at that again. Submission type. It's a default for no submission. What you want is external tool. Yeah, maybe you do want it to be on paper if you were in person. Maybe you want it to be something online. Today, we're going to look at the external tool, and we're going to find the external tool. And this is where you find out that Canvas interacts with several other external tools. Okay. The Google Drive cloud assignment is what we're looking for if we're wanting to integrate with our Google Doc. Okay, look at that with Khan Academy, Office 365, Quizlet, and so on. We're going to go ahead with the Google Drive cloud assignment, and they want to know where the resource is. Let's see if it's going to link up here. Otherwise, I'll go to my school one. Oh, it's starting to move. It's starting to move. It's starting to move. Here we go. I heard there were some problems today. Here we go. It just was taking a little while, so let's be careful. Now, one of the things when you go to the Google integration tool is everything, like these specific things right here. This is a spreadsheet. How do I know? Because I just remembered. And it says sheets. One of the things is with the integration, you might want to use a code of what is it, a document or what spreadsheet, because they all look blue, but these aren't all blue. That's a form. This is a doc, and this is a spreadsheet. So we're going to go ahead with the 321 doc. I'm going to submit it. I select it. I would like it to load the tool in a new tab. So when the students click on it, I like to allow unlimited attempts. During distance learning, I want to make it available for at least maybe 2 weeks. So it's available from tomorrow for 2 weeks. And so that's another thing. Students would be able to see it if you clicked on that. And, when do you want it actually due? Maybe by the end of the month. I'm being very loose. Now, assign to everyone. This is where if you wanted to change the section or specific people, okay? That's the differentiation area. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and save that. Lock date cannot be before due date. Okay, well, I was just trying to pick any date. There we go. How's that now? Do they like that better? That's what happens when you ad lib. You must assign to a student. Biology. There we go. So there's a few clicks there. So what would it look like for the student? Now you see right here for me, load in a new window. It doesn't look like it liked that. Okay, let's see if it's going to work in the student. So we want to go to student view. I might have missed one click, but sometimes it's just that. Well, the other thing is it might not work in student view. I just remembered why, because I don't have a student. But let's see. Oh, I locked it. It's not open yet. Okay, well, good to know. Good to know. We will adjust that. Now we know we learned something. If you want to lock something down, because you say, I don't want to working on it tonight. So if you haven't done that, we learned that together, maybe. Okay, let's go back, Marcia. Modules. My 3, 2, 1. So I guess it's not a good idea to just pick random dates. Okay. And I need to leave the student view is the other thing. You cannot edit in student view. I love that you guys are on this journey with me, so I don't feel so embarrassed. Okay. When is the assignment available? The assignment is available right now. Great. We made a change on that. Let's see if that helps us. Goodness. Let's see if it'll let me load into another. Okay, well, that's because I'm on the teacher view probably. But hopefully that's it. We'll try this one more time. Things like this happen sometimes. I think some of it has to do with the free version. It looks a little bit different, and I want to show you both. So we're in here. We are in student view. Remember, in student view, it's a good chance for us to see the navigation, how it limits students, see how it would be better if it was just home and modules. Just makes it easy for students. And hopefully this is available right now. And let's see. Yes, so the student would authorize it right now. So I'm in student view. They will authorize it. And that's why it failed, because it has to be the student that does that. So they will authorize it with their Google account. And that is how you put a Google Doc, and that will be every student will get their own copy. Now let's see what that looks like. We're at 5:30, halfway through. Let's see what that looks like in my school view. I'm going to go over to my school view. My school canvas, and I just want to make sure that I'm sharing the right share screen. Might not be. And let's just make sure. There we go. This wants me to log in, so just give me a second. I have a Sandbox, which is a fake practice class in here. And so I'm going to go to dashboard. And again, see all these titles. So that would be what you would see, but if you change that, students wouldn't see that. It'll be easier. So I usually just use home and modules. And we're going to make a new module. And we're calling this, again, hashtag 200 Google. And remember, when we enter a module, it goes to the bottom. We use the bottom those little grips on the side, and we can drag it to the top. All the way to the top. So each week, maybe you want to use a different numbering system. If not, just start with 001. I'm just starting to do this now, 200 for week 2. So what we want to show here is that we are making an assignment. So remember right here, I'm going to just go ahead and publish and make an assignment, new assignment, and the assignment name is going to be a Google Doc assignment 201. And I do want to indent it, and we're going to add the item. Now, how do we add the actual, this is going to be the copy for each student. Edit. And you notice where it said no, this is where I would need to give a little bit of directions, or what's the assignment. It's a 3, 2, 1 exit slip. I might be very specific. I like to use big font here, but very specific. Please use complete sentences and submit your 3, 2, 1 exit slip today. Okay, the points, 25. The assignment, this is where you can rename things. The points, submission, again, that's where, so this is where I've noticed, so on external tool, remember, this is our main thing. How do we access the Google Doc or Google Slides? How do we get that? And we get that by being on the submission type. So we're going to select external tool and go to find. Now, this is going to be what is your district linked with, probably. So I noticed that we have some different ones here. Some people had asked about Edulastic, but again, the Google assignments right here is the one that we want. This will make students pick. I don't have a choice, because if it's your school account, that should be the only one it'll let you register with. It does let you check plagiarism. I'm not sure exactly what that does, but this is where it lets you, it says make a copy of attached files for each of your students to edit and submit. This is where we want to do that. So there's also points here. It's not going to be 20, it's going to be 25. So I guess you have to enter that more than once. So it's going to be the 3, 2, 1, which I'm in a different account right now. So I'm just going to pick anything. And okay, right here, each student will get a copy. Make a copy of attached files for each of your students. Attach. So when I did that, I unattached it. Add it back. Each student will get a copy. That's the only option. You don't have all the options that you normally do. So this is where you could add a rubric. This is where you would add a due date, generous on the due dates, and create. Okay. Well, I know that there was a problem today with Google, so I'm not going to. So I probably picked a file that might not have been mine. So let's just find something else. The choice board. I hope you're all using choice boards. And I would give each student a copy. I don't always give each student a copy of things. Well, it liked that one better. So, and it says right here that it is a Google assignment. So notice we had to select that again. Kind of a lot of clicking. This isn't necessarily, I am liking Canvas, but as far as the make a copy for each student, I feel like that's kind of a long process there. I'm going to go ahead and save and publish. Now, in here, I did put some directions. This will create a submit button for my students, for them to submit that back in. This does also let you, I don't know all the details on it, but speed grader. So it allows you to have that. Okay, so that's what it's looking like for me. Let's go back home and see what it looks like for our students. Student view. Modules. That was the 3, 2, 1 exit slip. And remember, so it's going to make them log in right here with their own account. And then they click on the file. Each student gets a copy. And, you know, I'm not a student in this class, but it's still working for me. And there is my copy of choice board linked to my Google account. So that's how you make a copy for each student. And that is, if you've been missing Google Classroom, or you're not sure what you're going to do, that is going to be one of the game changers right there. So you can give every student a copy of whatever assignment, and you're going to either use it through the Google Cloud. That's what we showed earlier, or your account if you're a Google district. But notice there was Office 365 also. So we'll go back to this one. And so as a review, that was the Google Doc. We made a copy for each student. And I modeled that for you in the free Canvas, which when you go to log in, you always want to log in Canvas infrastructure. And then we could do the same thing with the Google Slides. I showed you the Google view, the school view. I wanted to show you how it looks a little different. And we did go over some of the assignment features and how to assign to just some students. So let's go ahead with importing a Google Slides. Okay, so one of the things is from your drive, you already want to have that Google Slides. From that, you already want to be thinking ahead. So we're in our Canvas. We're at home again. Okay, and we go to modules. We're going to make an assignment with a Google Slides. Maybe sometimes teachers have students making, 10 slides about a character in a book. And maybe you've numbered the slides or something. Maybe you only gave them one slide and they needed to make the rest. So within the module, we're going to go ahead with an assignment here. Assignment, and we want a new assignment. And this is going to be assignment hashtag 203 Google Slides. Since it's an assignment, I like to indent it and add an item. And we will go ahead and publish that. I have no students that I'm worried about getting into these, so I don't really mind. If you don't care if students look ahead, it's fine to publish it. So then we click on the Google Slides to edit. What are we going to put in this assignment? And again, it says, yeah. So it kind of reminds you that you need to say, you need to give directions. Please create 10 Google Slides. Of course, I would give them a rubric and more, more support in the book. We are reading. That's going to be 100 points because that's going to take a while. That's an assignment. It's going to display as points. The submission, again, that's where we make sure that we give each student their own. And we're going to use an external tool. And you want to ask yourself right now, what will that external tool be? We're going to use Google Drive Cloud Assignment. And I am noticing it's a little bit faster this time. So I'm keeping a folder. But again, remember, that we can't tell what it is. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick this one. I'm submitting it. That was actually something I had used before, which was 2 truths and a lie. And I like the loading it into a new tab. I didn't notice that being an option on the other one. I think it does it automatically. Because of the last problems we had, I'm not going to make a due date just for funsies. And let's see what's going to happen here. Okay, students will receive a copy. Notice up here, there it is. That worked out real nice. That worked out real nice. And this is actually, yes, they did get their own copy. but there is times I don't want their own copy, and I just put a link on a page when I want that. What would that have looked like for students? I'm thinking that we're seeing that this is pretty easy to do, right? We're going from it's in an assignment. So that's one of the main things you need to remember is, how do we give students their own copy? Give them their own copy. There is another way. I don't know if we want to learn the other way. Okay, so we were on home. We wanted to see what it looked like in student view. You have to be on home to get to student view. That's something that well, it's kind of bugging me. Come on. Student view. And then notice on the bottom how it turns purple. But if you're not on home, you can't go to student view. I think that's weird. Okay. There's their assignment. They have directions. They open that up. They authorize with their Google account. That's a normal thing to do. And then they will be able to open up their Google Slides, and then they will type on it. They have their own copy. They will type on it, and they will submit it. So if you're moving from Google Classroom to Canvas and you're used to giving students their own copy, this is going to be your favorite thing to do. You're going to be wanting to make assignments. We're going to be wanting to make assignments within the module. So give some information, send out an assignment, give some information, send out an assignment. And so we enabled. We did do school view, Google Slides, Google Docs. I think that's most of what I have planned for tonight's webinar. Were there some questions at this point that possibly I can't answer every question, but if you want to ask me some questions in the chat, I will check out the chat and see if I can answer those questions. Yes, somebody asked. So we can clean up the student view and get rid of those things, because those things are in the module. The quizzes, the assignments. Yes, they don't have to be on the side. If you want, I can show you that again. That was a great one for me, and such an easy one. We want to be in your class, and then you're down here on settings, and you can even reorder them. On navigation right here, all these things, whatever you don't want to be there, just pull them down. So my advice actually is I would only have home and modules. Then make sure you scroll to the bottom, click save. You could add some of those things back in one at a time, right? So they're still available to you, but when we go to our wonderful student view, all they see is home and modules. And as an adult, the class that I took with our district, we only saw home and modules, and that really helped all the adults as well. So I did see that question in the chat. And I'm so glad that everybody was here. Thank you so much for coming. And I think we'll go ahead and sign off. Again, this was through Alice Keeler's premium content. This was moving from Google Classroom to Canvas LMS. And today we focused on the assignments and how to integrate Google Docs and Google Slides into the Canvas using the iCloud and the Google LTI. So thank you so much for joining me, and have a great evening.